Welcome to All Things Real Estate on Full Service Radio, 830 WCRN. Now, here's your hosts, Gary Kelley and Brad Avergon.
Good morning and welcome to All Things Real Estate on WCRN, AM 830. I'm Gary Kelley, and I am joined today, as always, by the illustrious Brad Avergon.
Good morning, Gary Kelley. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
So, Brad, who are you?
On a sunny day, no less.
Who are you, Brad?
So I'm a senior loan officer with Envision Bank and Mortgage.
And I'm a house slinger for Remax Executive Realty. So we're having some fun. It's an all new day here in Massachusetts. We've got Rochelle Walensky throwing out the first pitch at a Boston Red Sox game. The masks are off. The guards are down. You can go to a concert. You can go to a restaurant and sit next to people. And COVID knows not to come out to play. What I find amazing is as recently as February, we were being told to double mask. And it was bad and all that. And I'm not debating whether it was bad or not. I'm just saying double mask was the rule. And now the same person that was saying double mask is out throwing out the opening day pitch. Or it wasn't opening day, I guess. First game without restrictions, mandates, etc. So, Brad, what do you think this means to our little business in real estate?
You know, I think it's a welcome return to, I'm not going to say return to normal because the market is still crazy, right? But as far as procedurally, it's more of a I feel like it's a welcome, a return to normal. So, you know, I've been spending more time in the office. I was in the office most of it anyway, but I have more time, not as mask weary going on. We had a protocol here where we'd had a sign in every day and talk about that we didn't have a fever or symptoms or so forth and so on. They released that as of today, actually. No longer have to do that on a daily basis.
It's interesting. My company said, don't go into the office. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, everyone kind of snuck in when they needed to, snuck back out. They've now come out with a new guideline that says the Commonwealth can go without masks, but in our company, we're going to say in the office, you should wear your mask. So I went into the office today. There's an attorney there. I looked at her. She looked at me. I said, are we wearing masks? And she says, that ship sailed a long time ago.
You know, I think there's more of a return. I think, you know, it'll be nice to be able to go to closings again. We were restricted from going to closings. Now, I mean, I've gotten the vaccine. I'm guessing most of the attorneys and the clients have gotten the vaccine. So that'll be nice. So I think some of that procedurally will get back to normal procedurally. Although some of the technology's changed. I don't know, next time we'll be sitting at a registry of deeds. You know, now that the attorneys have gotten used to e-recording, they're like, why should I leave my office?
Well, that's one of the things that I think that as we look back over that period, you know, we're still technically legally in a pandemic, right? And, you know, I feel sorry for the poor people in India because they're getting spanked pretty badly right now.
They sure are.
So it's still out there in the ether, so to speak. But I look at it and I say, maybe there are some things that came out of all of this that can come forward. I wish that the lack of traffic could come forward. We're back to traffic jams and long waits and that kind of thing. I know that we started to do 3D tours on houses. I think that those should continue. I think it's useful for people to be able to sit at their house and look at things and not have to go out and see a house if they're not prepared to do so. That has nothing to do with COVID. I think it's a side benefit that can go on. A lot of people were doing very strict restrictions on open houses. And that was leading to long lines. And frankly, I thought it was counterproductive because you had people standing in line. They weren't necessarily 6 feet apart, et cetera. I think doing e-recording, frankly, makes more sense than having a runner run to the registry to record stuff. So there are things that I think make sense to come along and that we learn from this whole bad situation.
I mean, look what we're doing right now. We've been recording. So after in the beginning, we were in the studio. Now, since COVID hit, when the studio got shut, we didn't get shut down, but our ability to go in was restricted. We did this, and this works great for both you and I. So yeah, we've changed some processes. Works better.
Well, selfishly, it's easier for me to sit at my home office and you happen to be in your office and do the recording, as opposed to figuring out a time when we can go over to the studio, making sure that the studio's available, going in and working with the folks there. This is just easier. And it also, selfishly, we repurpose this not only on the radio, but we also put it on Facebook, LinkedIn, et cetera. It's easier for us to get the recording this way.
Exactly. So yeah, some of the technologies come along. We've taken it with us. We've learned from that, and we've been able to use it. Gary, what do you think is going to translate this, to the market? How do you think, we still have a little bit of an inventory shortage, not as bad, but how do you think some of these things, now that we're coming back to a little bit of a more normal lifestyle, how do you think that's going to translate to transactions, people looking to buy and sell?
I think that the people that have been sitting on the sidelines saying, I'm not ready to sell my house, I don't want to have COVID in my house, et cetera, are now saying, maybe it's time. And one of the questions we ask is, okay, great, you want to list your house, where are you going to live? And sometimes they say, well, I've got a Cape house, or I bought a place in Florida. A number of people have said, I'm just going to rent and it's going to be fine. And I'll figure out what I'm doing afterwards. So I think we're seeing people start to enter the marketplace where they were hesitant to do so before. Interest rates are still blessedly low. So the people that were out looking, frankly, the first time buyers, they kept looking. They were ready to get out from their parents' basement and wanted to buy something. And so they were still out there. So I think that what we're seeing is a tempering of the real estate market. I like to say to people it's softening, and that's not probably the best use of words. Instead of getting 30 offers the minute a house hits the market, we're getting 20. But we're still getting, in many cases, multiple offers. But there have been some things that I consider to be just, borderline insane. Offering on a $400,000 house, offering $200,000 over asking. Now, if the house was priced and it's really a $600,000 house and they priced it low to drive demand and all that, I get that. But people are just going out there saying, I've got to have a house. I just have to, and going 200 grand over asking. I mean, we've seen that, and we've seen things that, home inspections. Yeah, we're not going to do a home inspection. Okay, well, frankly, I come from the perspective that says I think you ought to have a home inspection because you ought to understand what you're buying. And what we've started to do in some cases is offer that we will do the home inspection after the purchase and sale is signed. So the deal's hard, okay, but we're still going to let the buyer know what they're buying, because I think it's important that people understand kind of what their list is that they have to attack when they buy the house. Every house needs something. Sometimes it's major, sometimes it's coat of paint, just some freshening, more for taste. But every house needs something. And I think it's important people understand, for the largest purchase they're probably going to make in their lifetime, that they understand what they're buying.
Do you think that's going to be an ongoing change, in the marketplace, in that, we never heard of doing inspections post P&S before. Now that's becoming the norm.
Well, I think it's the norm now. I suspect over time it'll swing back the other way. And my sense is some of the things that we've been talking about coming forward should be there. But I personally would prefer to have the inspection over prior to the purchase and sale being signed. One of the things that I struggle with is having the inspection before the purchase and sale often means that there's a renegotiation before the purchase and sale. And it's the renegotiation that tends to be the bug for everyone. Sellers don't want to hear about it. Buyers look at it as an opportunity. Hey, we can go back, we can get some. You really don't have that when you do it after the P&S, and people understand that. So if there were a way for us to do inspections, but say, listen, it is what it is. We're selling it, kind of as is. It's not that opportunity to renegotiate the entire deal. I'm not saying that we don't want to get the best thing for our buyers, but we've seen a number of instances where people lock properties up in the marketplace, do the inspection, and then use that to completely restructure the deal. And that's not necessarily the spirit of what we're trying to do. But on that happy note, Brad, I think we got to pay some bills. We're going to come back after paying bills and continue the conversation.
Sounds good, Gary.
You've been listening to All Things Real Estate on Full Service Radio, 830 WCRN.